Yes, hello, welcome back to Down the Slope. We got more familiar faces. You know what it's like, guys? No matter what Hibs are doing, I'll be there. But these two goobers, Hibs beat Hearts, and we got Craig and Ewan back on the pod. Ewan, we must be feeling brilliant.
Oh, mate, like mentally fantastic on a high, but very much still dealing with a hangover and a sore throat, and definitely feeling the aftermath of what was a fantastic day yesterday.
And Craig, talk to me about the rules. How are you feeling?
Excellent, excellent. What a day yesterday was. Unlike you and I left it just early enough with the berry just to not have a hangover today. So I'm feeling brilliant.
I'm actually working. I was working today as well. That was an absolute. Thankfully, I was working from home, but It was a challenge to get up this morning and
It's a
and
long
get through
day.
the day. But we've done it. It's the weekend again, and Hibs are fucking flying, Harry.
We are indeed. It's one of those ones for some reason it just wasn't really fancying a drink yesterday. And then most of the times I got to Tynecastle halfway through the game when I'm shouting, I'll like stop myself because I've got a headache halfway through. And I always thought that was because of the alcohol. But apparently I'm just a very angry human at the football because at one point I shouted and I was like, oh my God, my head is splitting. So I just need
And
to kind of
occasionally when
reel it in a bit.
talks about the football as well, Craig, of course, when he talks about it on a Monday night or a Friday night, as the case may be
When it
tonight.
gets high pitched.
To be fair, like the linesman near side that tried to disallow the goal, I don't know if I've ever verbally abused someone that much that often over a 90-minute period. I was livid at that little man. But let's talk more positively, Ewan. Going into the game, I think we all were probably hoping for a similar lineup. The only change I'd said initially was I was wanting Hoylett in for Campbell just to kind of have that more creative mind in the team. But Gray had the team he liked, stuck to it. Do you think that that's going to be something that we see more often, and why do you think it worked quite as well as it did?
I think it works. Well, there's two parts to that. That's a
Yeah,
me question, actually,
yeah.
that
Oh,
isn't it? That's
but I didn't answer any of it, so you get to answer all the questions.
um, the team. It works because you've got two players that are. It gives you two players high, and you can counter and you can get out, and you always have an out ball if you get the ball right into the channel. That's why it works, and you've still got the bodies behind the ball. It'll work away from home in games where we're happy to accept that we don't need to have as much of the ball to still be a threat. So, would I like to see us line up with that team against Kilmarnock on Sunday? Maybe not. Maybe we need to make a change or two. However, I still think there's enough quality in there to win, but definitely away from home in these sort of bigger games. It was a bit similar setup at Celtic Park as well, a little bit tweaked, but delighted to see that we went with the same team yesterday that we did at Pittodrie. Nobody deserved to be dropped. And then I think everyone put in a really, really solid shift yesterday.
Yeah, indeed. And Craig, big question going around. I don't know if you've been on Twitter much the last 24 hours, but do you think that Shankland claimed the assist? We couldn't really hear Shankland on the microphone if you know the video I'm talking about. Do you not know the video I'm talking
No,
about?
sorry.
Oh,
Oh, how have you missed this?
Is this the one where he's like afterwards or
Yeah.
something?
aye, so essentially, for those that haven't seen this video somehow, the hospitality at Hearts, they must get
I've
the
seen it.
the top players coming in, and then the guy that presented it started with a question, Shankland, did Hibs just want it more? If I've watched Hibs get beat off Hearts, and then the club captains in front of me being asked, did Hearts want it more than Hibs? I'd be throwing things on the stage. And then what you got? Then he was like, "Oh, Shankland, I know we got beat, but we conceded just before halftime. Did you claim the assist?"
I know, mate. See, see the boys at the start. I totally understand their anger because we've been there. But I actually do think the boy who's doing the interview is probably in the right to say, "Go and shut up." Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's just mere the environment. But it was see if that had been on like the shoe on the other foot, and there was Hibs fans pissing themselves about that, like the wee quirk about the assist. Oh, my head would have went, mate. Oh, my head would be rolling about the flare. Like it just, they like maybe it's corporate anyway, but it's just lovely. Like it was like when we beat them in on Boxing Day in 2019. The don't you dare look up, don't you dare look. Like there's always a video. Do you know what I mean? Like anytime you win a game of like anytime you win a derby, and they're probably the same as well. Like at Easter Road, there's always someone or something that makes it almost even better because you get to beat them at the game and enjoy that, and then the next morning or whatever, sun crops up and you're just like, oh. This is bliss.
Right. But I promise, guys who are listening, we'll actually get into the game at some point. But when we win derbies, I just like to enjoy the whole day. But Craig, taken away for the game, or taken away for the goals, sorry, what was your favourite moment? Because I was in the car on the way back with Bex yesterday, and I was saying to her, that was one of those games that had the most celebrated moments that weren't goals. That there were so many little bits for me that we were going like, yes, come on. And
Yeah.
it wasn't goals, you know what I mean? So, like, was there anything that sticks out in your mind that was like a particular highlight in that vein?
I know one of you guys put in the group chat today when Yandanda took his heavy touch right at the end and then put out for the throw, and that was class. I've never celebrated a throw in like that in my life. Uh, and then probably the one that sticks out the most is Shanklin when the ball drops to him and he has a chance on the edge of the box, and we managed to get the block in. Like, what a relief that was! Because as soon as that dropped and he cuts inside him, oh, it's goal. Because Rocky was on skates, trying to get his feet sorted to get on to get a block on it. But yeah, that was good.
Aye.
Same to you, Ewan. Any other moments?
I think no, mine's was. I think mine's is maybe actually sandwiched right in between the two that Craig mentioned there was when Caden blocked, I think, the Penrith shot that then ended up going for the throw in
Yeah,
from there. But I think throughout the whole game, and again, Harry, it's a carry on from the Aberdeen game where you've seen that and you've seen the sort of. I mean, everyone will probably call it togetherness and all of that stuff, but it's only looks good if you're winning. Like because like I said, and maybe I should hold my hands up for being negative, but it was the Ross County game when we were losing 1-0 and Iredale was trying to G up the East stand. And at the time I'm like, oh lad, you need to pack that in. But
Read the
then
room here.
but then do it when you're winning and it's like fuck it, yes, he loves it. Like like so but there is definitely a togetherness there and when you're winning on the pitch ultimately the fans will buy in. There's still a lot of problems elsewhere at the club and whatever the squad is, it is what it is. But they certainly are performing better. They're seeing games out. Do you know what I mean? Like we've not kept a clean sheet in the last three games that we've won, but do you know what I mean? Like it's not rocked us. We've played well throughout the game, and yeah, just the whole thing was really good. And I'll be honest, the only time that I was nervous in the game was when we went 2-1 up. I was still pretty calm throughout. I think they maybe made Smith make one save in the second half, and it was straight down his throat for did Shanklin have a sort of half volley in the second. So even though they had a lot more to the ball, I never worried in the game, and we had the best two chances of the second half, even though Hearts did come into it more with Cadden and obviously the goal.
Can I just say I was convinced they were going 2-1 up before halftime. It just felt like
Oh man, maybe for that
that was
split
yeah,
second.
that felt like it was going to be the most Hibs moment ever. Like I remember half an hour because like luckily me and Dad got tickets next to each other, and I was like to Dad, I was like, I couldn't tell you if we've ever had a better like start to a game at Tynie. Like we literally out the gates, and then obviously didn't like him at all. But Craig Gordon, that like all the Hearts fans are like, oh, it's a shame to see the downfall of Craig Gordon. That's one of the best performances he's put in against him, save after save, and like three, four of them were like ridiculous saves as well. Like, just one other random stupid moment. For some reason, but like, correct me if I'm wrong. We just started singing random Christmas songs at one point. Like there wasn't even any Hibs lyrics. There was one point we were just singing what's it? Here it is, Merry Christmas. There was no Hibs
Mhm.
lyrics. We were just singing Christmas songs for the funny. I thought that was magic fun.
Mate, you can turn any song into a football channel. That's the beauty of it. That's what I get told for Lauren every time we're in the car. No matter what song she puts on, she's like, "You ruin every fucking song."
It's what we do. Craig, we've not really come to you for any of the actual action itself yet. So kind of sweeping statement of the game. What were the key highlights and what made it, for me personally, something that made it as good as it was is the fact that, as you touched, it was just comfortable, wasn't it? Like we
yeah.
don't
No,
win the
I was
derbies
actually
and
gonna
not.
I
Oh,
was going to jump in on what you were saying there, and I'd probably say the most telling thing, the difference between those two sides is, like, I think we deserved to win the game, and that was shown by the level of save, probably rather than just the number of save. So that each goalie had to make. Craig Gordon's saves were a lot more difficult, like good saves that he's had to work for. Smith's were kind of routine. He done them well, he done them tidy enough, but he didn't really have to leap into action for too much. Uh, so yeah, I'd probably say that was the main thing with that. Is I thought we were vastly the better team in the first half, to be honest. The momentum, as always, it's kind of unavoidable at Tynecastle. It swings whenever they get a wee bit of a shout behind them. But dealt with it well. The Hibs team at the moment. There's so much more confidence in it, but there's also at the moment just like a bit between the teeth. We don't want to concede. It's going to happen. It does happen. We make mistakes, but you can tell they don't want it to happen. Like they're fighting for it, which is encouraging to see.
But we're gonna do something a bit different, boys. For some reason, these guys have entrusted me to host the podcast. So the thing that we're doing slightly different, we're gonna do higher or lower with Hibs players. Essentially, I think that everybody that played deserves to get their plaudits, and just so we don't miss anybody, we're going to talk about fucking everyone. So we're just going to do it chronologically, as if you were reading a team sheet that's in the correct order, not in numerical order, like Hibs do when they put up that weird video thing. Understood?
Understood.
Yes.
Cool. So let's start for the back. The man in goals, Jordan Smith. I'll hold the hands up. I thought he was going to be the worst goalkeeper to ever play for the club. I saw him in pre-season, was not impressed. Saw him against Aberdeen, was like, oh my God, he's somehow worse than Bursick. But since then, I think he's been very solid, and I think he is genuinely a massive component into how we play. I think shot stopping wise, I've not seen too much to impress me. That's not really his fault because there's not been too many savable shots that he's conceded since Aberdeen.
Ross
Um,
County done a couple to give him a
yeah,
wee
yeah,
bit of
no, yeah.
credit. He had a couple
Before
of
the
good
first
ones
goal, there
against
was a really
County.
good save. Yeah, but I think his distribution. I think he's very good at manipulating the time. There was one point just before halftime where I was like, he's held that ball for 40 seconds. Like, and he gets away with it. Like, there was one moment, I'm sure you remember it in stoppage time. I was convinced it was going to get booked, and I
And he
reckon he
was
kicked it.
bouncing on his head.
Ah,
In
I
his
reckon he
fist.
kicked it just in time before he ended up getting himself booked. So for me, like obviously we can't do higher or lower because he's our first option. But Craig, it was another solid performance. He couldn't really do much more than he did.
I'd give him a seven or something like that. To be fair, I thought he was steady enough. Like I said, didn't I don't think he had any major like arse saving saves to make, but he done everything well.
And you?
Absolutely. I think a goalkeeper is a seven when they're competent, which is what he was. But maybe competence doing him a disservice, but he didn't do anything or didn't have to do anything outstanding. Which I think you would. I think a goalkeeper needs to win you a game to be looking at them as like a 9 or a 10. So no, seven.
Yeah.
Seven, I'm comfortable with.
Can I
Uh,
just chime in on that again? Sorry, I've just the last sort of week or so, the last couple of games, the thing with Smith that's actually starting to give me a wee bit of encouragement with him is I don't feel quite as nervous with him. Like there was no moments yesterday that he was doing bar one time when he ran out to head the ball, but he done it
oh yeah.
well. I didn't really feel that nervous about anything that he done. So that was good.
Well, Ewan's apparently got nervous just thinking about it. That's only a joke if you're watching instead of listening. But Liam Young sent in a comment. We asked for tweets from our wonderful people as always, and he said there has to be a segment purely dedicated to this man's performance. And he sent in a picture. You can kick us off. Jack Iredale, wearing a Santa hat, of course. Higher or lower than Jordan Smith?
Eh,
And just to jump in, sorry, we're not saying anybody that's lower didn't play bad.
aye.
We're just doing this as our way to find a man of the match, and we can
And
have
and
differing opinions as we go.
and in the name of the game, we're not allowed to say the same. I take it.
Yeah,
Just
yeah, that's just boring. We don't do
I
Ben City here.
I will give Jack Iredale a higher than a 7 out of 10. Again, similar to a goalkeeper, a defender probably needs to score to get more than a sort of an 8, but I would give him an 8. I think I think for a defense, I think when you're doing these rankings, Harry, I don't care how good a centre half is, unless you score a goal, they're not getting a 9 or a 10. It's absolute like goal score bias, but that's how it works. If
What?
you do you
I'm
know
not
what I
having
mean?
that,
So
Ewan.
so Vir so Virgil
It's
van
the
Dijk keeping
same.
a clean sheet for Liverpool's never got a 10 out of 10 for you when he's no scored.
No, I'm just saying in general terms when you're doing the rankings, you always look at the game. It's like the same reason why centre halves didn't win the best player in the world and stuff like that. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, it's
I know what you
like
mean.
there is a bias there, but I didn't think he was like amazing. Like again, he done everything competently. Didn't, yeah, 8 out of 10. Really, really solid. Looks like a player playing in the exact position that they're meant to. Don't know that I would love seeing him in a two. Don't know that I'd love seeing him at left back, but on that left hand side of free, he's good enough on the ball. He's quick enough. he's competent enough to carry it forward when he has to. Yeah, recovery pace is there, like everything that I see, and slowly but surely becoming a get set guy.
Craig, yourself another hire?
Yeah, I would give him an 8 as well. I know that's boring, but he's definitely an 8. He played well. I thought he was definitely one of Hibs' better performers, one of the better performers in the match. So, I agree.
I like as I keep saying about him, I just like defenders who can defend. I just think he's good at doing his job. He doesn't like. There was one point again though. It's something that's happened a few times when balls getting behind. Sometimes he does get caught a bit flat-footed. I can't remember who it was. I think it was in the second half. At one point, the ball went in behind him. I was like, probably should have been quicker to that one. But that aside, he's really good at using his body as well. There was one point where you know how defenders like Porteous used to be the king of it, love a little contact and immediately
Stick their
down
arse
the
out
free
and fall
kick.
over.
Aye, he'd done that, and that was one that all the players were going over to him, giving him a hug and that for it, and the fans were going mental for. And I think he's touched. He's the type of guy that as soon as we're good, we're going to absolutely adore him because he is a every single time. Come on, get in there!
Mhm.
Like he's the type of character that we've kind of been missing, in my opinion, for the last few years. So yeah, no, great. And I love it as well how I've said to you guys higher or lower, and you guys have just started throwing numbers in there as well. I didn't get how that came into things, but anyway, all right. So sticking with Jack Iredale. Next we've got Rocky Bushiri in the heart of the defence. Craig, I'll come to you first on Rocky. Are you going higher or lower?
It's got to be low. I love him, and I loved his character, and I loved him winding up the Hearts fans. That was glorious. I don't know if you have watched the pitch side highlights
Yep.
video that Hibs put up earlier. Superb. Him and Josh Campbell winding them right up. They were raging.
Iredale as
Uh,
well.
yeah, they love it. Uh, so nah, but he's got to be low. Listen, at the end of the day, he did slice the ball into the back of his own net, so that's got to count for something, unfortunately. So low.
Harry, just to answer, I think given the number allows you to provide context, maybe not just to the last player.
Yeah, like you can do this as much as you
Uh,
like, so you can
6
give numbers.
then.
I just thought it was
yeah,
funny that he's throwing it in there.
no, again, I'm in agreement with Craig. It would be a 6 for me as well. Because 6 or 7 is the baseline. And I thought he did play well, but this is a mistake for the goal, regardless of how you want to look at it, whether it's taking a nick off someone or whatever, it's rash and it's ended up in the back of the net. And on another day, it could have changed the trajectory of the game, but he deserves some credit for playing his part and making sure that that wasn't the case. And ultimately, the defenders as a unit, and him included in the start of the second half, stood firm, didn't give up any chances, and he was on a booking as well for a incredibly soft yellow card and managed that well. So still a really positive performance that I think continues his sort of upward trajectory since coming back into the team, but lower than Jack Iredale.
Yeah, I agree, Lauren Jack Iredale, but I just want to say, like, I think the character you need to make what's fair to say is a clanger, and then go into the second half after the opposition fans have sung your name, to then every single time you're near the ball, they go, whoa. And I thought apart from the slip at the end, like my heart literally dropped. Like I was almost more gutted for Rocky, if they'd scored than I would have been for myself. Like I was just like,
Hmm.
he's had such a good second half. Like, just don't let this. It would have felt cruel for that to have happened. Like two clangers to have caused two goals, and thankfully Jack Iredale put his foot in there, and then that was one of those moments as well where I think Iredale blocked it, then Miller headed it, then maybe it was maybe Quad or something ended up getting on the end and kicking it away, and each time I was like, yes, 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 unreal. But yeah, no, for me, Rocky, he bounced back well, and I loved that those gimps were singing his name during the game. And then he bounced back, and Hibs fans were singing it at the end. Beautiful. So obviously, Iredale is still the benchmark just to say for the game. So we're going to move to O'Hara, but it's not Rocky you're doing higher or lower with. It's the person that's currently at the top. So then
All
at
right,
the
got
end,
it.
if you get me, yeah. So we're on to O'Hara. So Iredale is the benchmark. I'll kick off. Um, don't want to be too negative, so I'm going to skirt over it. O'Hara is starting to worry me. I did say it on the last episode. I just think he's making pretty big mistakes each game. I think the one where he dallied on the ball for literally 4 seconds, got tackled. If that led to a goal, like, and that's even worse than what he did against Aberdeen. He's so indecisive. And in the formation that he's in, he doesn't have that much to do, so he can't afford to be indecisive when it comes to big moments with him. I think aside from that, he was pretty solid, but he has got a big question mark on his head for me at the moment. I can't lie. So in short, Jack Iredale higher. Craig, got you on that? No, actually, you had a bit of facial reaction when I spoke there, so you can answer it back.
Iredale had a better game, but haven't been sorry, biggest fan this year. But I thought it was good yesterday. I thought it was fine. I know the moment you're talking about, but there's got to be some context that he's looking to play a pass that probably isn't there.
Mate,
Like,
he
do
had
you know what I
two
mean? Like,
passes on and he held on long enough. There was nothing on. He couldn't even clear it by the time he'd made
I
his
just
move.
think
Like, it
that
was
if you're
bad, bad for me.
so he loses the ball on the touchline 40 yards for goal. I don't think that's something worth worrying about. Do
So
you know what I
he's
mean? Like,
just like I'm not trying to start an argument for my context is he's got the ball as and the line's then up with him, and by the time he's made his mind up, he's part of the last line of defense. So by like they
they
had
want no, but they
they
were
had the same volume of numbers of players in the box because he lost the ball in that position. Like that's a really bad position in my opinion to lose the ball
it's
in.
no great, but at the end of the day, if a defender loses the ball, then it happens. Like I don't think Hearts even got a chance for it. I don't think anything came for it. Like
Aye,
it's
but
not
Hearts are
like
shite.
no, like
Like
but
we get away with it.
so,
Anyway,
like
I
are we
just wanted to
actually
explain my
having
point of
like
view. I
I
said I didn't want to
understand your
cause it into
point
an
of view.
argument.
It
I just
just
wanted to give my point of view. Sorry.
aye, he was fine. He played well. Uh, aye, played fine. 7 out of 10. Better. I thought it was better than Rocky, mainly because he didn't kick it and he's in that.
Did he? Oh, I'm not argue. Craig,
I've uh, I managed to disagree and agree with both of yous there while you were talking. Uh, I'm going to disagree with you, and I think Hora's a six as well. So he's lower than Iredale. I thought he was okay, but I would agree with Harry. That he's not starting to worry me because he has been worrying me for a few weeks. He's probably the one out
I
of
do
the
agree with
centre
that.
halves at the
I do
moment that
agree
I'm
with
probably most concerned about. Uh, I just think after sort of positive start with him and everybody was kind of looking at him to be the main man in the centre of defence, just a couple of things happen here and there that, barring one or two clangers that he's dropped, it's just things that worry me about his defensive abilities.
He doesn't have the
Uh,
same recovery pace as the other two.
doesn't have the same recovery pace. I think sometimes, like some of our other defenders as well. I suppose if they're all perfect, they're not Hibs, but he gets caught in the spin quite a lot. I've noticed, like when the ball goes behind him,
Mhm.
he seems to struggle majorly. So yeah, I thought he was okay. To be fair, it's always everybody's 1 or 2 points better when you win. So I'd put him as a six.
and just to say, all right, so we've established that after centre backs, Iredale's still the benchmark. Are we going wing backs next, or do we start centre mid and then go wing backs?
Wing
I think,
backs.
yeah, wing backs
Wing
first. Yeah,
backs.
yeah. All right, so this could potentially be the one to beat.
End the game.
It could end the game. Maybe the best crosser we've seen in the last. I couldn't tell you the last time we've seen a better crosser of the ball, and he's set up 2 goals in the one game there. Niki Caden, unbelievable. Unbelievable. For me, obviously higher. If I always try not to give 10 out of 10s because I think they're given away too easily. But 10 out of 10, why not? I thought he was magic. You can't get 2 assists in an Edinburgh derby and no get a 10 out of 10. So you take the floor, Nicky Cadden. What?
What a player. What a player. Probably the main reason that his twin brothers probably not getting the credit he deserves since coming back into the team as well. I think Cadden's been really good, but when you've got a player like Niki Cadden on the opposite side, um, people will probably just want the same on the other side, which is understandable. But incredible delivery for both goals. Just a really, really competent football player. Again, another one who is looks to me to be in the exact position he needs to be playing. I don't love him as a sort of out and out left winger, as like a front three. I don't think he's probably. I think what playing that little bit deeper as a wing back does is it gives him a little bit more room to operate and he can cross it from deeper. He can try and take his man on. You know what I mean? Like it's like not to use a shitty comparison, but remember when Scotland started playing Robertson as left wing back? And it's like, why we're not seeing the same thing as what they were seeing with Liverpool. But at fullback, he's coming onto the game, whereas at wing back, he's maybe starting higher up. I think Niki Caden being that bit further back benefits him because he can get a bit deeper, carry the ball 20, 30 yards up the pitch and get a quality ball in into the box. Really, really good business of getting them in, obviously. And we've been really critical of the recruitment this summer, but Niki Caden is so far proven an incredible signing. Loving it. Really, really good football player. Really good football player. 10 out of 10.
And higher than Iredale.
Aye, 10 out of 10.
Craig, anything to add on to Mr.
Or maybe
Caden?
9 because he probably lost the ball once and then.
Yeah, my only
Can't help yourself, Craig.
No.
my only deviation for you, Pay, was just going to be giving him a 9, to be honest. He was absolutely excellent, virgin and faultless. But I feel like to get a 10, you just need to do a bit more, score whatever it is. The way he whips up the ball, and it's so good to watch. A wee bit similar to a beat of the way he whips it in. That's maybe just lazy because he's left-footed as well. And it reminds me a lot of Keating's, the way he used to,
Aye.
they properly hit the ball when they cross it. It's not like floated or anything. They whip their foot right round it. And Keating's used to take the free kicks the same sort of way. So long may it continue. At the moment, when he first came in, I thought it was quite a decent signing. I remember saying that I thought he would be like a steady player for Hibs, kind of in the team one week, play all right, and back out the next week. Just a sort of a good squad player, but he's definitely more than a good squad player for us now. He's a starter, and he's definitely in the gets it category. Him and Jack Iredale, like Niki Caden, like doing the fist pump and screaming. That's just lovely to watch.
Right. And you know what? Fuck it. Let's talk about the goal. Let's talk about the second goal. That's just aesthetically one of the most pleasing goals we've scored in a long, long time. I remember when I was younger, when I was at Seaton Boys, that's where me and Craig started our footballing careers. It didn't last very long, but one of the coaches said, if the ball's going out of play, even if you're never going to get to it, chase it down anyway, because you never know. Like, so we were always taught, like, if that ball was 10 yards ahead of you and you were never getting there, at least chase it until it's out of play. And Gayle, bless him, had a shit touch, but he powered after the ball, backheeled it, and then potato, Niki Caden whips in a gorgeous ball, and Gayle, who saved it from going out the pitch, was there to tap it in. Like, there's so many elements to that goal that just kind of typify how good Hibs have been in this run. It's the kind of tenacity to not give up. It's the bit of quality that I feel we were lacking at the start of the season from Caden, like whipping that in, and that finesse for Gayle, because it's one of those ones he's hardly touched it. He's just glanced it, but he's glanced it enough that the keeper's not got a chance. And Halkett as well is going to have nightmares, the ghost of Gayle floating in to tap that in. Beautiful goal, guys.
It's incredible. Do you know, for me, like everything you've said, right, Harry? But so Gayle is obviously, well, he's sort of confirmed that he's probably going to retire at the end of the season, and he's obviously not got the fitness and the sharpness that maybe he had in his peak, but the determination to get from pretty much the other side of the box when Caden receives the ball to beyond the front post, like when the sort of live camera angle, he proper pout, like he really turns the afterburners on to get across. It's incredible movement from him. Like that's a goal that, from a Hearts point of view, you're like they'll be looking at that going, but what are we actually meant to do there? Do you know what I mean? Like they're knowing a bat. It's an incredible ball in. It's a great finish, but the movement, like you say, keeping the ball in and everything, that's fantastic. But just the nous to be able to get through one side of the box and just still have that 18-yard sharpness to get right across the near post and pop it in the far post. It was incredible for Dwight Gayle. Like a really, really good goal. Like so
Just a
good.
top striker's goal. It's just that experience and that anticipation that's where the ball's going. Like you can see, he just knows I'm going to get myself in that area. And obviously, sometimes the ball will go over his head, but sometimes it doesn't, and it lands in his foot. It's such a good glance. It's one of these ones quite often you see teams when they're doing their warm-ups, they practice these types of balls into the box a lot from wide, whether it's right on the edge of the box or a wee bit deeper as well, and they whip that in, and they practice these finishes quite a lot. And Dwight Gale's just shown that these sort of years and years of practice that he's had at these finishes is why he's made a career scoring goals like
Yeah.
that, because it's such a deft touch, but it's so good and so effective.
I think what we're seeing with Dwight Gale is that having a striker of that age profile in your squad, and we've probably seen it to an extent with Adam Lafondra last year as well, because we did. I think what probably was part of our undoing last year with Lafondra was that we kind of got to a point where we felt like he was our main striker. That there is definitely so much value in having that sort of caliber of player. Yes, in the twilight of their career, but that can still just give you that the couple of moments of class that can ultimately almost like alter a season depending on when that moment is. So like unfortunately for Lafondra, his came so early, like against Luzerne at Easter Road, and but what that done was put us back on the front foot, and we go and win that tie. Dwight Gale's comes good and wins you an Edinburgh Derby, and totally change. Like obviously our momentum's been good, but totally changes the mood about the place, and I just I think there's probably a model there that it would be good if we could always try and have that striker, but not be reliant on them. Do you know what I mean? Like have them as that second, third choice, which obviously he probably is seen as our third choice striker if everyone's fit. If you were writing the squad down at the start of the season, probably behind Bowie and Kukrevich. But yeah, just incredible. Really, oh, what a finish. What a fucking goal. Sorry for the total tangent there.
No, mate, tangents are good. Tangents are fun. I decided halfway through that my new game wasn't going as good as I planned because we were just kind of chatting too much about things. So let's just talk about the other individuals as we go then. Would anybody beat you? Who else would be in contention for man of the match for you? Would there be anybody?
Triantis would
I
be in
thought
contention
Triantis
for
was
me.
really good.
Superb on the pivot. The amount of times in the first half that he took the ball in a sort of difficult area, spun on it, and then put it out to Chris Caden on the right. It was brilliant. He was taking a situation for us that was quite dangerous, and maybe had the chance of losing the ball in the middle of the park, or maybe there was a wee stramash and we were trying to get the ball out of there, and he just took it calm as fuck and just played it out into space, and relieves a lot of pressure on the team, and in doing so actually puts us on the attack.
Yep. I thought Johnny O was really good at it. I know that I say that most weeks, but I just thought he had another really good game. Hibs absolutely won the midfield battle, if you like, yesterday. Do you know what I mean? Like I thought him and Triantis in there were really, really strong. Chris Cadden on another day probably scores a couple of goals, like two really good saves from Craig Gordon, one in each half from him. And then, I mean, I think we should probably talk about Josh Campbell maybe separately. So, but the front two, maybe not. It wasn't. We didn't see from them what we've seen at Pittodrie in terms of the goals and the assists, but the work rate that they both got through. Probably two players really that all of us at times at different points in their Hibs career, you could probably question their work rate and that their willingness to press and sort of work for the team as opposed to having that more selfish mentality, wanting to score and get assists. And both of them up top were so good and just never gave the Hearts defence a minute's rest and always gave us that out ball in the channel. But Josh Campbell has just proven in the last couple of weeks, I think, to be everything that we hope Josh Campbell is. That yeah, he probably won't play every game, but when he's in, he's a nuisance, and he is such a goal threat and he is such a difficult player for opposition teams to sort of know what to do with, because he can be quiet in games, but ultimately the boy finds himself in goal scoring positions in most games that he plays in. Do you know, like whether he takes them or not, like, and his ability in the air for a not a massive guy is very, very impressive.
It's for Josh Campbell. A lot of what makes him good when he's in the team is just his athleticism, like being able to go from one box to the next. Not just at the start of a game, later on as he's tired. Like you say, he's got a good leap on him, and he's got a good eye for being in the right place at the right time as well.
Yeah. Look, it's easy to sit and wax lyrical about all of them after like we won 4 out of 5, played well in the game that you lost at Celtic Park, and you've won at Tynecastle. So obviously everything feels fantastic. There is still deficiencies in the side, and not to focus on the negatives. Like this isn't a case of us sitting saying that everything's perfect, but I think a massive amount of credit has to go to the manager. For me, he has found whether I really don't like this, or he stumbled upon it. Well, you're just assuming that. Do you know what I mean? Like but he has still picked the team to do it. He's still put them, he's still set them up. Like whether he naturally would have come to a free at the back or not is irrelevant. He has molded it. We played slightly different at Celtic Park to how we did against Aberdeen at home, or how we've seen Junior Hoylett playing the 10, we've seen Josh Campbell playing the 10, and there is still areas for improvement in the team. But what this does is give you a fuckload of hope, and that if the players we bring in January are of maybe a higher quality, that you're maybe going to look at the players that are currently starting and go, oh no, they are still worthy of their place. They can still compete, and maybe we don't need total open heart surgery in January. Do you know what I mean? I mean, that's what's coming in the summer, but maybe we can get by and still have a pretty decent season with just 3 or 4 instead of ripping up the whole fucking team sheet like we thought we were going to have to do a month and a half ago.
I think that was very good discourse, but I've got about 18 points I want to talk about further back. So I'm going to do that. And if you guys get bored, just tell me to shut up. But
Shut up, Harry.
thank you. Kev Wilson sent in, and he's probably same boat as me. A long-time member of the Triantis Shite Club. So like I'll read what he says. I have to give him praise because he was excellent yesterday. So I don't think Triantis is shite. I think Triantis is very frustrating, and I think that his style of play and being very casual and being very nonchalant, I think he's probably the easiest player to get annoyed at.
Yes.
And I think even when he was playing well, there was one point where he like flicked it over someone's head and it went out for a throw in. And I was like, you know what? I think I'm starting to get it because I've been really harsh on Triantis, but I think it's just because it's that style. Like even if he's having like an to bad performance, it'll feel worse because he's like that. It doesn't seem like he's putting the effort. I'm not saying he's not, but you know what I mean. So
Well,
I'm starting to
What
process
age is
why I
he?
get. He's only
21.
21, but I'm starting to process why I get as annoyed at him as I do, and I think it's just because if like Josh Campbell, I find it difficult to get that annoyed at him because I know he's going to sprint around the pitch for the rest of the game, whereas Triantis is just going to kind of like do his thing.
Aye, I know, I know. He's almost like a number 6 version of Ewan. Like he is kind of like fuck. Do you know? And this is again where I think the change in shape has been so important for this team. So you talk about how it's sort of maybe hiding Rocky's deficiencies, is where he can just sort of defend as the middle of a free. But see, having 3 centre halves behind Triantis, it hides his deficiencies. See the shape we were playing before, where he was very clearly the holding midfielder, and his deficiencies are just the attributes you need to be an effective holding midfielder. Like he doesn't sniff the danger out. He doesn't probably have the experience to even know where that's coming from yet. You know what I mean? Like he doesn't have that 100, 200 bank of games behind him to know exactly where he needs to be. But what you are seeing on the flip of that is because, in my opinion, I like the sort of 3-5-2 or whatever sort of variation of that shape that Hibs are playing just now is, and it's what Craig said earlier. He does have the ability to turn in tight spaces and get the ball out. So whether that's to the wide centre half, whether that's finding the wing back in space, and that is the good parts of his game. And I have to say that was the part of his game that probably worried me the most going into yesterday. I felt he can be too casual at times, but he was immense yesterday. Really, really fucking good, and he deserves credit for that because rightly so, he has had a lot of criticism recently because I don't think his performances have been good enough, but he was very, very good yesterday.
And who would you, if you had to give the man of the match to one of the two? Because I'm assuming that's the two main candidates between Triantis and Caden. It was for me anyway going into this. Who would you tip it towards?
Caden, it's got to be.
Yeah.
You can't play as well, so you got to get 2 assists and not get man of the match. It's got to be Caden.
Niki
Then
Caden for me too.
I'll say Newell. I thought was above fine. And I'm only saying Yule's fine.
I thought you were
I
going to
thought I
say he
thought
was
he's
man of the match.
no, no.
It's like
I thought he
Jesus.
was above fine. I thought he drove well a couple of times, and I thought his range of passing was good, and he wasn't shy. I think there is sometimes I think Yule personally I think Yule can be guilty of being a bit timid and moving the ball forward, and he can pivot back and just give it to one of the defenders to like recycle the play. But I think yesterday he was like pounding the ball across the pitch, trying to get it wide as soon as possible, trying to play the ball through. And that's a Newell that I think someone on Twitter said to me earlier today that he thinks that Newell's in the same vein as Campbell in the sense that he'll have like kind of purple patches throughout the season in which you can't fault him. And I think he's starting to hit that patch at the moment. Aberdeen was really good. Yesterday was really good. So hopefully we see that continue for the next few games. Campbell, I thought was brilliant. I thought it's kind of similar to Aberdeen. I thought he was brilliant first half, and I thought halfway through the second half, I was shocked he stayed on. To be honest, I didn't want him to be subbed because he was bad. I wanted him to be subbed because I thought his legs were gone. Like I just thought he looked knackered at about the 60-minute mark. And one person that we actually skitted over, I thought Chris Cadden was really good. I think he's bounced back really well. I think he went through a good 4 or 5 performances in a row in which he was nowhere near good enough. But I think he's bounced back fantastically, and I think that Chrissy Cadden's also been really, really strong late. So I just wanted, if you want to talk about him, you're welcome to. But I just wanted to acknowledge him and say you
No,
deserve the love, Chrissy.
that's sort of what I tried to say earlier. I think, unfortunately for him, his twin brother has been so good that means he's probably not getting the credit that he deserves. But I thought really good performance. Everyone was good yesterday, but over the last few weeks, he's been again another player playing in the right position. I said it in the summer. I said it during. I just think that this setup is how this squad should be deployed. You've got two players that look like natural wing backs. You've got players that look like comfortable in wide areas in terms of defensively. Like it just makes too much sense not to play like this, and you are seeing the best of quite a few of the players, Chris Cadden included.
And then Craig, I'll let you talk about the strikers, but you mentioned Gray in this section, so I'm going to do the same. I was massively critical of Gray's substitutions at the start of the season. I do think that, although not directly his fault, I think that his decisions probably led to us losing points if he hadn't changed things or if he changed things in a different way. But I think all his subs in this game were really positive. I know it sounds daft because I know that Ewan and Boyle kind of play as strikers, but I think the strength of the system is the fact that both of them can have goals each drifting wide. And I was just thinking we need a striker. Like we just need a striker on the pitch. And that's when he brought on Gale. And then towards the end of the game, I think Miller, even though it's been in short doses, I think he's looked really, really good at right centre back. I think all he has to do in that position is use his height and head the ball away, especially when teams are coming at us. And I thought he'd done a good job of that. And Abita, again, even shorter period of time, but I thought he was really good. Kwon, I think he's doing better off the ball. On the ball, he's still a bit frustrating. There's a couple of passes going to miss, but I think he's looking quite good. So yeah, just feeling good. But Craig, have you got anything to say to Boyle or Ewan's performance?
Boyle or Ewan? No, I enjoyed the work rate. Boyle in particular in the first half, man, he was properly chasing, really chasing the centre halves. And he had a couple of good moments down the right hand side. Boyle winning us a couple of throw-ins and stuff. I wouldn't say they got any like sort of moments in the game, big moments that would stick out and make it their derby or their game. But they both worked hard. They both done well. The corner flag, I saw that. They both worked hard and done their jobs basically, done their jobs, but to a good level. So no complaints at all.
Any glazing you want to do, Ewan?
No, sorry, I took us off on a tangent about
No,
them
no.
20 minutes ago. So no, really impressed with both their work rates. Yuan probably unlucky not to score. It was a fairly comfortable save for Gordon, but he got some power behind the shot in the first half. But no, really impressed with the two of them. I think Boyle especially dropped from the team. Let's be honest, pretty much written off. And ultimately now, him and Niki Caden, 6 goals and assists between them in the league this season. So no, they're both on good form, and do you know, I think maybe we are seeing that they are just both potentially better suited as strikers now. It's always been a bit of a question mark over Ellie Yuan whether he's better down the middle or out wide. And I probably think now with Martin Boyle's pace dwindling, he is better utilised down the middle. And do you know the one very, very good thing for Martin Boyle is, and I was thinking about this going into the game yesterday because I was thinking he might be matched up against James Penrice quite a bit. People are still scared of the Martin Boyle of 2 or 3 years ago. Teams are still setting up to play against the pace. So that means that there's more space for us. So if you play them down the middle, they are going to drop 5 yards because they're still worried about that ball in behind. Do you know what I mean? Like,
But he has still got
aye.
a
Oh
bit
no,
of
he's
pace.
still
It's like
aye.
I know there's been this sort of notion recently that like Boyle's legs are completely gone and he's not got any pace anymore. Like he still does have it. I think the main thing earlier on in the season when he didn't look quite there and sharp was a lot of time when he was running, he wasn't able to get to full speed because the ball was always caught under his feet and he wasn't dribbling the ball great. So maybe a bit of a, I'm not just saying to you, but I think maybe there was a bit of a disservice done to him earlier this season to say that his legs are completely gone. Uh, so I think that's probably why teams are still worried about because they know he could still hurt them.
I'm probably also um, a little bit, I don't know, biased probably isn't the right word, but I've always quite liked Martin Boyle as a centre forward. Especially if he's got a partner, I just think yeah, I've always been. I'd really enjoyed. Remember the championship he played down the middle under Lennon, and the season we got promoted. I actually think his one-on-one finishing's pretty good. Do you know, I think when he gets one-on-one, he does finish it off more than often than not. And I do like him as a centre forward.
How much better is his finishing an all-round game than when he first came to Hibs, by the way?
Oh,
Because that
incredible.
was his worst part, was that. But
Do you remember
it's
the goal he scored at Falkirk and then he got injured later in the game in the playoffs in the first year in the championship? He carried it for like the edge of your box and then rattled it in for the corner there. Oh, what a player, by the way. Genuinely. Like what I know like genuinely, what a guy. What a guy.
we've won one derby, everybody's absolutely class now.
Aye.
The name of the game.
But speaking of that, guys, it's I've been sneakily doing it, and me, Bex, Craig, and Mikey. That's Craig's big brother. We've all got a group chat, and I said to them before the Aberdeen game, I was like, being honest, okay, we're a bit pish, and I was like, we're going down, lads, but I was like, we could win the next 3 games. I was like, Aberdeen are a bit shaky, Hearts are where they are, and Kelly will be at home after having 2 bits of momentum.
Mate, we're getting beat on Sunday 1-0. Like
But do you know what? Like we're at the stage now where like that's the weirdest vibe I've had going into a derby. Like they're that bad and we've been playing that good. Like I was just like it wasn't even confidence. It was just like when you're halfway through the season and you're probably going to finish like sixth or seventh, and you're playing like St Johnstone who are 10th in the league at home. Like that feeling when you're going, you're not confident. You're just assuming
relaxed.
yeah, it's just like we're just gonna win. Like that's almost the feeling I had, but I was like second guessing the feeling. I was like, that can't be right because we're playing against Hearts. Like at no point was I, oh no, we're gonna get battered. Like getting battered just wasn't a possibility, and it's just nice that we're at that phase now.
I
So
was comfortable going into the game because I felt like now obviously as a Hibs fan I will pay a little bit more attention to what Hearts are doing than Ross County. Do you know what I mean? Like I'll be more aware of the sort of, and of how and they get more airtime as well. But I felt like they set up perfectly for us just now. They'll have a lot of the ball. They don't have anywhere near the creativity to do anything with it. They don't have any width in their team. They drive everything through the middle. That when you're playing 3-5-2 is already a congested area of the pitch on a narrow, shitty little pitch, a shitty little stadium. And then their main outlet as a fullback who bombs forward and exposes centre halves that can't run. Do you know like so I was entirely relaxed going into the game yesterday. And obviously you have your nerves and stuff and it's a derby and your emotions are there. But in terms of the way the two teams were going to set up to play against each other, I was really comfortable with it because Critchley has been so wedded to the way he wants to play with that 4-4-2. Um, and look, it's not working for them. And long may that continue. And the way that we have been playing in this last wee spell is working for us. And it maybe didn't pan out exactly. I sort of, when you think about the way games are going to go, and that I thought we were maybe going to score feel like a ball in the channel, Martin Boyle 1-on-1 and slots it or something like that. Like maybe it didn't go exactly like that, but I just had no concerns that they were going to hurt us yesterday. I thought it was the same at Easter Road, to be honest. And if Dwight Gayle took his chances in the first half, we probably beat them at Easter Road quite comfortably as well. They had more of the ball that day. They knock it side to side. Kai Rose probably gets more touches than anyone else on the pitch. They are not a good football team. I know that's easy to say. It's only 5 points ahead of them. You only beat them by one goal, but they're shite. They're absolute shite. And they've got on paper good players, but they just knock it about without any real sense of purpose. And I'm not scared of this coming back to bite me in the arse because see if they go and sign 10 players in January, then they're no the same team. In their current setup, they're not a good team. They're really
Nah,
not. They're
they were
toothless.
they were poor. If you base it solely off of the game that you seen yesterday, like they were poor. We were better value than just a one goal win. Like I thought we were, particularly the first half. I thought we were by far the better side, uh, and could have and should have probably won the game by a bit more. That would probably be my one criticism yesterday. There was that we didn't quite carve out uh, clear enough goal scoring opportunities, and not enough of them anyway. Uh, that would be the one criticism, that we should have definitely should have won the game by more than one.
You have to play the game that's in front of you. But I do agree. I think on another day we probably do score a couple. Like Craig Gordon made a couple of good saves. Like I say, Chris Cadden, if we're being uber critical, Chris Cadden should probably score both his chances. If I was being really honest. And he makes obviously a good save for Ewan, and I feel like he made another save in the first half. For Josh Campbell's header.
Aye.
But yeah, I think we set up a game plan, frustrated them, scored a goal early on, which really, really played into our hands. It let us play the game we wanted to play. And I know Harry's went on about it this season about teams letting us have the ball and stuff, and I maybe wasn't quite accepting of that at the time, do you know? But maybe we have turned into that a little bit. Do you know, like we've almost doubled down on it and went, yes, we're making mistakes, but you know, we're actually doing okay here. Like if we weren't making these mistakes, we would be grinding results out, and that is sort of what we've done. And I'm here for it, and you just want to start building on it again and again and again, and maybe add some extra quality or with players coming back in like Ekpiteta and Bowie as and when they're fit and available. And it's a really, really good time to be a Hibs fan just now. Ultimately, when your team's winning games, it's a lot of fun. And
It's
we
frightening
didn't.
in football how quick it changes, because
Yep.
take us back 3 or 4 weeks, and we're all in a entirely different mood. You know, something that stuck out to me earlier when Harry was talking, I can't remember exactly what it was he said about the next few games, and how we're looking at them, and they're winnable. And I'm in the exact same boat. I'm looking at them going winnable. Whereas 3 or 4 weeks ago, we were looking at this set of fixtures that we've just played and going, oh fuck, we're gonna lose that one, and we're gonna lose
Absolutely.
that one, and then we're gonna be bottom of the league, and then we'll probably lose the game after that. Whereas now you're going, we should, and we've got a very good chance of beating Kelly and St Johnson, and then you never know if you've still got that bounce, you've then got a chance of beating Rangers at Easter Road as well, because they're fucking gashed now as well. So
We've just played that run. What was it? One defeat in six, is that right? And that was the run of fixtures that we were all dreading after a decent run of fixtures that we didn't win it. You know, like on paper, we were going like how we'd remember. Like, was it after we played Rangers or something, or after we played Hearts? It was like we didn't play Celtic, Rangers, or Hearts for like 8 or 9 games, and we should be picking up points. And like,
yeah,
it's funny how football works, and momentum is the most important thing. But we have deserved to win the games of football we've won. I am still comfortable in sitting here and saying that we have left points on the pitch this season as opposed to us grabbing points that we haven't deserved, in my opinion.
yeah,
We weren't great against County, but I still think we were the better side overall and deserved to win.
And can I just say, if any of you Dundee United fans are listening, we're fucking coming for you. We're shite, we're class, we're finishing higher. And I also want to say, there's like obviously anybody that signs for Hearts, we're going to root against them and we want them to be bad. But it makes me so happy for some reason that Danda is as shite as he is. Like
I mean, they won the
he
league.
is chronic at football. He is bad. Like I'm not being funny. Like he is terrible. And the Hearts fans ken it. I ken it. I'm like, I love agreeing on that one. He's crap, and his downfall has been beautiful. I've been thoroughly enjoying it. I just wanted to get it off my chest. Thoroughly enjoying it. But boys, is there anything else that Derby related you just want to touch on? Obviously, Ellie Yuan's new thing being just uprooting corner flag, sticking his top on it and waving it about to Hibs fans cheering him. I think that is so fucking funny. Like it's
Did you see
just
that Hearts fan
random.
tweeting about that, raging,
Ah,
wanting the groundsman sacked because he let Yuan take the corner flag?
it's when Yuan sidestepped him as well to get past him, man. Unreal. Um, Aye, beautiful. And like obviously I don't mind Marvin Bartley as much as some Premier League Hibs fans do. But Ellie Yuan literally lambasting him every Insta story is just so funny to me as well. Like again, no need for it, but I get it and it is really funny. So yeah, Ellie Yuan, we're obviously essentially an Ellie Yuan supporters club. And I think that is somehow heightened when I never thought it could.
Absolutely, I mean, absolutely. Absolutely. Do you know what? He might only have a handful of Hibs games left. You know, an offer might come in for him in January. It might not. So what I would say to anyone listening to this is just enjoy it. Just enjoy watching good football players play. Do you know like that way? Like just a lot of the time you see a lot of average to shite games in Scottish football, but and Ellie Yuan plays his part in that. And he will give the ball away and he will frustrate, but he is a character. He is probably misunderstood, but he is a very, very good football player that unfortunately won't be at Hibs forever. And we will absolutely miss him if and when he does go. And I, for one, intend on enjoying every minute of football he plays.
You're going to make the listeners tear up, Ian.
Oh God.
Like a
Um,
eulogy.
but speaking of tear up, I'm going to tear up at Hibs. When was the last time, in theory, Hibs won? Wait, would it be three in the spin if we beat Kilmarnock or four?
Four.
Three. Four.
Just
For
one three
Ross
on the spin.
County, Aberdeen, Hearts,
Ah, Ross County. Yeah.
Kilmarnock.
It's so annoying because if Celtic shouldn't count. So, but anyway. When was the last time we won four in a row? Was that the when we finished third?
When was the last time we beat Aberdeen at Pittodrie back to back with Hearts at Tynecastle?
But
When did
anyway,
we last do that in the same season?
Fucking hell.
let's not go too in depth. We've been cheering enough about Hibs. Believe it or not, my voice is slightly gone after yesterday. Um, Craig, any changes to the starting eleven? We don't have to name the team because everybody kens the legends that started yesterday. Would you make any changes?
I wouldn't make any changes unless there's bumps or whatever. Just I would stick with a winning team. I'm very much a stick with a winning formula, unless there's any concerns about fitness or like burnouts or anything like that. But no, the only thing is I would maybe start with an out and out striker, but I don't really know if we've got the ability to do that with the squad that we've got at the moment, uh, with injuries and stuff like that. So that would be my only change.
Ewan?
I've convinced myself that Joe Newell and O'Hara were playing through some serious pain yesterday, and with them two being the ones that got subbed straight away, and
They were the ones who picked
obviously
up
with
knocks, weren't they, at Aberdeen?
exactly, yeah. So I don't know. I'm convinced that maybe there was some painkillers injections in there on Thursday morning to get through that game. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Miller at right centre half and Kwon to come in and start in the place of Joe Newell. Other than that, I would stick with the same team because I know remember I think I mentioned it in here. Remember earlier in the season we went to Ibrox and we were really defensive, and then we played the same team against Motherwell and it just didn't work. I
Mm.
think with the threat of Niki Caden, with Martin Boyle, with Josh Campbell who can get your scrappy goals, and with Ellie Ewan, that you're still got enough threat in this team to still cause Kelly problems. Like so, I wouldn't be too concerned about that. So yeah, I've just got a sneaky feeling we might see the two changes. But I could have also entirely made that up in my head. Well, at this
Could have.
point, I have made that up in my head, but I think there might be some foundation to it.
See what you're saying about Niki Caden. I just think every team in the league at the moment, the form that he's in, the way he's kicking a football now, like every team will be absolutely petrified of him just now because he can cause problems from nowhere near your box. He could be 50 yards out and he could put in a ball
Mhm.
that's going to cause serious problems.
Jim, maybe big big Kukurevich might be back in the squad, Harry, after that. I think he's had enough of faking that injury.
I don't think he'd like for me genuinely though. At the moment, he'd be fourth choice. Like I
No,
would
no,
not.
I've just said like
And obviously, if you want me to hold the hands up, that was obviously said in a middle of a rant. Shouldn't have said it. I'm sorry, Big Mick, if you heard that one. Obviously not good, and I shouldn't be
But
accused of
genuinely, I think he would be. I do
Um,
think he'd be a good option
but
to have
I
back in
don't
the squad.
think that based off his performances of late, I don't think he warrants a start.
No,
Um,
bench.
oh, but yeah, and even if he was on the bench, I wouldn't have him on over Gale, personally. But yeah, and then but side note, how fucking mental were the scores on Saturday or whatever day it was?
Some
Everything,
mad ones. 4
aye,
0 Aberdeen, 4-0 Kilmarnock, and 3-0 County away. I mean,
aye.
any team that's be getting beat off Ross County 3-0 at home, you've got to be really concerned. Like, I'm sure Dundee fans will be absolutely fuming about that one because that's a horrific result.
Aye,
Then St Mirren last minute winner against Rangers as well.
aye.
Mental.
Good
Mental.
weekend of football. Don't care
Yeah.
what you don't say what you want about Scottish
One
football,
for
but
the good
quality.
guys.
But it's aye, are we claiming Ross County as a good guys? Ah, it doesn't matter.
Nah,
Hearts could be, Rangers could
just
be.
Hibs winning, Hearts getting beat, and Rangers getting
Aberdeen.
beat all in one weekend. I mean, that's what you want to see.
Aye,
And
absolutely.
then finally, to round it off, boys, give me a cheeky wee score prediction each. It's funny because we went through that phase of giving wins when we knew we weren't going to win, but now we've turned a corner. We're actually giving what we feel could happen. It's nice, guys. It's nice. This is good.
Yes,
Good energy.
I know I said tongue in cheek there that we're going to lose the game 1-0, but I don't think that's going to happen. I think sold out Easter Road should be a good atmosphere. Everyone will be bouncing, really looking forward to the game, and I think Hibs are going to get back to scoring 3 goals because it was pathetic that we only scored 2 yesterday. Outrageous. So bad, Hibs, and I think we are going to win the game 3-0.
Not quite as confident as you, and to be honest, I think it's going to be a quite a difficult game. Obviously, we're all going on about how good form we're on and everything's brilliant for us, but Kilmarnock have done really well in the last couple of games. Obviously, Hearts are shite, but they were still down to 10 men, and managed to beat them for down to 10 men for what was it, like 85 minutes or
Aye.
something.
But is
And
their away
then
record not still really shabby?
well, I don't know to be honest, but I'm more so just basing it off a team like
Playing well.
Kilmarnock, the form they're in. They'll be hard to beat. I would imagine they'll come to Easter Road and sit in and try and make things really difficult for us. But like I say, with the quality that we've got out in the wings with Niki Caden and even Chris Caden, he can put a ball in as well. Like I fancy us to make a few moments every game now, just with that delivery if he's on the park. Uh, so I'm going to say 2-1 Hibs.
Well, it takes a madman to predict a mad thing, and it's going to look very stupid when it ends 0-0. But I'm going to go 5-2 Hibs. I think it's just going to be both teams are going to make stupid mistakes, but I think Hibs are just going to score 2 goals in a row at one point. It's just going to give us momentum, and we're just going to hammer goals past them. At the moment, we do look like we're capable of scoring multiple. It's so weird. It's like a switch. Like, see, when we played Motherwell away, we just looked like we could score goals, and ever since we looked like we can score.
It's
Like,
confidence, mate. It's
aye.
confidence.
Oh,
Confidence in football is everything.
I don't think we
oh,
can overstate the importance of Rocky's equaliser against Aberdeen.
yeah,
Yeah,
100%.
I don't think if that doesn't go in, David Gray's probably sacked, if we're being honest. And the whole outlook's like it's such an easy thing to say, but I don't how many times we say that momentum and just a feeling like I just don't think you can especially the I know Smith's been a lot better, but especially the 2 goals that we did concede to sort of potentially lose that game, like the whole feeling around the place, and then, like you say, Harry, a really good win at Motherwell, but I would actually probably just take it that little bit further back for that Rocky goal. That is season changing, definitely. I would say absolutely,
Well,
absolutely.
if we continue on as we are, and this is not just our like real purple patch, and then we kind of go back to exactly how we were getting
Even then,
results
Craig,
and how we
like
were playing.
even if
It has
we
to be season defining.
even if we ended up finishing seventh, I think had we lost that Aberdeen game, it would have been gone fucking hell. Do you know, like I know that is that it's so stupid, and it's how fickle football fans are. us included. But
Listen, though it can switch back so quickly, but I would say that the benefit of having a good run now when we've had it is that we're going good into the January transfer window, and we've got through a really difficult patch pretty much unscathed by the Celtic result. And you can make any adjustments to the squad that you need under good circumstances rather than having to do a whole squad overhaul when you're sitting bottom of the league.
No, we're not saying that Jordan Smith can't play at St Johnstone and that Triantis should be back in Sunderland at a minute past midnight on January 1st.
There's one loanee that can go on January 1st, but we can discuss that next episode when we do our January window preview. The guy that's sitting on the bench instead of in goals.
I thought he was on about Ukrainian.
Oh, no. But oh my days. You enjoy to wrap us off because my voice is gone.
Harry needs to put himself on mute and get a couple of soothers down his throat, I think. We will be back on Monday, looking back on the Kilmarnock game, and then it'll be a very quick turnaround up to St Johnstone on the 2nd. So I hope you enjoyed this episode, and we'll be back next week. Cheers!
Cheers.